of the cervical spine. And so what I'm going to do is locate a landmark, which is C2. I'm going to maintain that landmark with my SIF, actually my if, I'm sorry, with my if. I'm going to take my SIF and my thumb, and I'm going to gently tug the musculature back, and then I'm going to push forward, feeling for bony resistance, and I should be on the right and left articular processes of C2. If I'm asked to name it, it will always be the one under my thumb. So in this instance, I would be on the right articular process of C2. Okay? So once again, I find the spinous process with my if, maintain the contact point, take my SIF and thumb out 3/4 to an inch, push P to A, and I should be over the articular process. And so you can locate each articular process by first finding the spinous process. Once I've located it, I can now take my finger off of the spinous process. So it's just there as a reference point until I locate it. Okay? Next, we're going to go to the thoracolumbar spinous processes. So I'm going to have my patient lie prone. So I will need face paper.
It's underneath right here.
So I have her lie prone. My reference point to count and find the thoracic spinous processes is going to be the T1. So I'm just going to ask if I can palpate her and open her gown.
Yes, ma'am.
She's given me permission, so I'm going to drape properly by tucking.
I don't have a strap.
Okay, if we had a strap, we would tuck it. And the reason for that is I'm going to have her raise up on her elbow, so I'm going to go ahead and tuck it here because we have to define the T1 spinous process to be able to count. So I'm going to ask her to come up on her elbows, so kind of in the plank position, no, but you don't plank. And so what I'm going to do is eyeball. I'm looking for the vertebral prominence. I have to verify which one it is, so I'm going to have her raise her head up. And then now rest her head in my hand, and I'm going to flex and extend, looking for C7 and C6. So what I'm feeling is this one is moving underneath my finger. So that's C7, and that makes that T1. So I'm going to maintain my contact point on T1. I'm going to have the patient go back into the relaxed position, arms at her side. Okay. From here, I'm going to count inferiorly with my inferior hand using the finger slide technique. So that's T1, sliding to T2, T3, T4, 5, 6, and you can see how they're starting to become more elongated. 7, 8. Now we've reached the bra strap, so I'm simply going to move that out of my way so I don't lose count. 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we get into the lumbar spine, so this is a transitional zone, so what we're going to feel is more of a blade-like. So I like to slide from the top of the vertebrae, of the spinous process to the bottom. So there's L1, L2, L3, L4, and L5. So we've counted all the way down. Next, I'm going to find the lumbosacral junction. So this is skin on skin. I'm going to contact the patient's inferior rib cage. I'm going to knife edge in. Now you can see we don't have on elastic waist shorts, so I'm going to have to
Jolly Ranchers.
Yep, Jolly Ranchers. So I'm going to tuck her breeches. She's given me permission. Okay. So you see when we need elastic waist. So inferior rib cage, knife edge in. Create a pivot point on the shelf of the iliac crest. Windshield wiper down until I get on the inferior notch of the PSIS. Superior hand rotates around, bisects the point between the PSISs, maintains contact with S2, slides ceph ladder towards the head until I find an interspinous space. My thumb comes off of the PSIS onto the sacrum, feeling bony resistance until I get to the same place that my superior finger is, and I feel interspinous space, confirming that I've located lumbosacral junction. I maintain my point of the lumbosacral junction, take my inferior hand and begin to count the spinous processes. So that's L5, 4, 3. Now if I'm trying to find the mammillary process of L3, I'm going to go up 1 interspinous space, out lateral, 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, push P to A, and I'll be over the mammillary process in this instance of L3.
The end.
Ta-da.
The end.